Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandatnam, please accept my obeisances. I'll worship Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandatnam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandatnam.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Prahlad Prabhu, Dandatnam. Can you say the Narasimha prayer, Prahlad Prabhu?
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste
Narasimhaya.
Prahladaladaini.
Prahladaladaine.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Hiranyakasi Purvakshaha.
Vilatankanakalaye.
Vilatankanakalaye.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
To Narsimha Bharato Narsimha.
Yato Yato Yamitato Narsimha.
Yato yato yamitato Narsimha.
Vaye Narsimha Hrudaye Narsimha.
Ahe Narsimha Hrudaye Narsimha.
Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapadhe.
Narasimha Sharanam Prapadye.
Tava Kara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipur Tanubhranga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhranga Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev.
Jaya Narsimha Dev, Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Shri 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 Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki,
Jai.
Prahlad Maharaj ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Namo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Stottra Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swamy Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Namo Vishnupada Paramahamsa Privrajagacharya Stottra Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki.
Jai.
Jai.
प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की,
Jai.
Jai.
नमाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की,
Jai.
श्री वृंदावन धाम की,
Jai.
Jai.
मथुरा धाम की,
Jai.
पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की,
Jai.
Jai.
मायापुर नवदीप धाम की,
Jai.
Jai.
गंगमाई की,
Jai.
यमुना माई की,
Jai.
भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की,
Jai.
गिरी गोवर्धन की,
Jai.
राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड के,
Jai.
सामवेद भक्त वृंद के,
Jai.
all glories to assembled devotees,
Hare Krishna.
all glories to assembled,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories.
Hare
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की,
Jai.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय,
Om Namo
Om
Bhagavate.
Namo
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय,
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
Narayanam Namaskrityam.
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं,
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
Devim Saraswati Vyasam.
ततो जयामुदीरये.
Tato Jayamudinaye.
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
नित्यं भागवत सेवया,
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
Bhagavate Rutamashloke.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके.
Bhakti Bhavate Naishtike.
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my obeisances on Lord Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
We started reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, English, since yesterday, right? Where is this? So, yesterday we started reading from the preface, and consequently, we're continuing reading of that Prabhupada's words. It's very important that, when we are reading the Bhagavad Gita as it is, or for that matter, Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada directs us, one should read, a serious student should read Bhagavad Gita from the very first page of Bhagavad Gita. So, following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, we started reading from preface, and now we're continuing with those words. So, anybody wants to read it? I'm sharing the screen. Prahlad Prabhu, yesterday you were asking for reading it. Yesterday I've shown you how to read it. Do you want it to try one more time?
Prabhupada from the Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
The Krishna conscious movement is the explainer essential in human society, for it offers the highest precision of life. How this is so is explained fully in Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, mundane Vagis have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita to push forward their dominant propagation and minus people ignoring right understanding of the simple principle of life.
Hare
Everyone
Krishna.
should
Prabhu,
know how
Prabhu, let us ask somebody else. Is Mataji, do you want to read?
Yes,
Charita Mataji,
Prabhu.
you want to read? Charita
Hare
Mata,
Krishna,
yeah,
Hare
go.
Krishna, Prabhupada.
Can you try?
Yes, Prabhuji. From the beginning, Prabhuji,
Yes.
the Krishna conscious, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. The Krishna consciousness movement is essential in human society, for it offers the highest perfection of life. How this is so is explained fully in the Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, mundane wranglers have taken advantage of Bhagavad Gita to push forward their demonic propensities and mislead people regarding right understanding of the simple principles of life. Everyone should know how God or Krishna is great, and everyone should know the factual position of the living entities. Everyone should know that a living entity is eternally a servant, and that unless one serves Krishna, one has to serve illusion in different varieties of the three models of material nature, and thus perpetually one has to wander within the cycle of birth and death. Even the so-called liberated Mayavadi speculator has to undergo this process. This knowledge constitutes a great science, and each and every living being has to hear it for his own interest. People in general, especially in the age of Kali, are enamored by the external energy of Krishna, and they wrongly think that by advancement of material comforts, every man will be happy. They have no knowledge that the material of external nature is very strong, for everyone is strongly bound by the stringent laws of material nature. A living entity is happily the part and parcel of the Lord, and thus his natural function is to render immediate service to the Lord. By the spell of illusion, one tries to be happy by serving his personal sense gratification in different forms, which will never make him happy. Instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, he has to satisfy the senses of Lord. That is the highest perfection of life. The Lord wants this, and he demands it. One has to understand this central point of Bhagavad Gita. Our Krishna consciousness movement is teaching the whole world this central point, and because we are not polluting the theme of Bhagavad Gita as it is, anyone seriously interested in deriving benefit by studying the Bhagavad Gita must take help from the Krishna consciousness movement for practical understanding of Bhagavad Gita under the direct guidance of the Lord. We hope, therefore, that people will derive the greatest benefit by studying Bhagavad Gita as it is, as we have presented it here. And if even one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, we shall consider our attempt a success.
So, do you want to explain what you understood, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji, I want to listen. Sorry.
So, Prabhupada is explaining here purpose of writing Bhagavad Gita, why he has written the Bhagavad Gita. We spoke about it yesterday. There was many Bhagavad Gita versions available in English when Prabhupada started translating Bhagavad Gita as it is. But none of those books actually representing Krishna. Rather, the people use Bhagavad Gita to propagate their own conception of, or their own conception of life, or their own conception, or their own ideology under the name of Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is so popular. If you present things under the garb of Bhagavad Gita, people will easily accept. Many people will read it, right? So the people started, many people, scientists, philosophers, politicians, they started translating Bhagavad Gita just to propagate their own ideology. So the people are not becoming a devotees because it's not propagated as it is supposed to be propagated by Krishna. So that's where Prabhupada has taken up the process of translating Bhagavad Gita. He named it as Bhagavad Gita as it is because he did not adulterate the message given by Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is supposed to be taken from a authorized source. It's supposed to be, we all know that Bhagavad Gita is spoken by Krishna. If one understands, one wants to understand the Bhagavad Gita, he has to take the message from Krishna himself or his authorized representative. We should not misinterpret Bhagavad Gita, but you have to take the words of Krishna as it is. If you just try to interpret Bhagavad Gita, not in the consideration of Krishna's will, then what it becomes? In fact, it's said it's an offensive. Everyone should understand Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like, Arjuna understood that. And he submitted himself to Krishna and accepted Krishna as his spiritual master. Arjuna is a first disciple of Krishna. If one understands Bhagavad Gita in that particular consciousness, and Bhagavad Gita is really profitable and it takes care of all the living entities. Specifically, it's meant for the welfare of human society in fulfilling the mission of the life. We all know that, we spoke many times about goal of life. Goal of human form of life is to get out of the clutches of birth, death, old age, and disease. Krishna consciousness movement guides us how to inhibit or imbibe Bhagavad Gita, teachings of Bhagavad Gita into our life, and consequently achieve the goal of human form of life. That's why Krishna consciousness movement is very, very essential for human society, because it provides the highest perfection of life for the people in general. How it is provides the highest perfection of life? That is itself is properly explained in Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, as Prabhupada is mentioned, many people, we see that, Srila Prabhupada mentions names also in some of his lectures, like Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Well, he was a president of India, and prior to that, he was a teacher too, and he has some knowledge in Sanskrit. It doesn't make him a qualified person to translate Bhagavad Gita. And there are many people who has translated Bhagavad Gita into English. Philosophers, politicians, and scientists. All these people, they wanted to propagate their own demoniac ideology and consequently misleading the people from understanding the principle of life as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as it is. First of all, one need to know that, how Krishna is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how Krishna is great. We all should understand what is the position of living entity and what is the position of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. We should know that living entity is eternal servant of Krishna. See, the nature of service is inherent for the living entity. Either you serve Krishna, otherwise you will serve something else, illusion, Maya. When you are serving Maya, you serve in different modes of material nature. If you are doing that, what happens? Consequence is we're wandering within this material world, one form of life to another form of life. 8,400,000 species of life, 84 lakhs of species of life. Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death, it's going on. Not only for a conditioned souls like who is entangled in a karma kanda, division of work, but also Mayavadi philosophers, speculators, has to undergo this process. Bhagavad Gita is a knowledge. It constitutes a great science. Today, I received a message from a devotee. Somebody is challenging the devotee that all the Puranas, all the Vedic sciences are mythology. This is the nature of the people across the globe. They think the Vedic sciences is mythology. Mythology means myth. Myth means not true, but imaginary. Vedic sciences are not mythology. Who uses the word mythology? Atheist. Who doesn't believe in God? Who doesn't agree the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? They think that whatever is mentioned in the scriptures as mythology. But we, who believes in existence of Supreme Personality of Godhead, we don't call it as mythology, we call it as scriptures. And they are Vedic sciences. And the person who said that mythology means, somewhere, he has quoted some dictionary or mythology, they written as English to Telugu dictionary, Purana Shastramu. That actually contradicts his idea that it's a mythology. Myth and Shastra, these two are contradictory words. Shastra means in Sanskrit science. That means a dictionary itself propagating the message wrong way. Mythology means ideology which is propagated out of speculation. Myth, it is not true but imaginary. That is the meaning of mythology. But they have given as Purana Shastra. That is actually not a meaning of mythology, but their own opinion of Puranas. Because Purana Shastra, Purana means ancient, old. Shastra means science. Purana Shastra means oldest science. Mythology means myth, a ideology based on a myth, imagination. So mythology means Purana Shastra is not a right translation or right understanding of the word mythology. With lack of understanding, people may contribute all the scriptures, they call it as mythology, but it is not mythology. Because these are fact. Mythology stems from the word myth. Myth means it doesn't exist, but people just, concoct. So Vedic sciences, specifically when you're talking about Bhagavad Gita, or Vedic sciences for that matter, is given by Krishna. They are not mythology. They are facts. Unless one understands the position of Krishna and the living entity is a eternal servant of Krishna. That's a constitutional position of living entity. Unless one serves Krishna, constitutional position is to serve Krishna. If one does not engage in service of Krishna, he will engage in service of something else, which is called Maya. It could be his own senses. It could be extended senses. And all these activities are going to be performed on three modes of material nature. If you are under the three modes of material nature means, eternally you will be wandering from one body to another body to another body. Cycle of birth and death. That's why Bhagavad Gita is a great science. It provides us, facilitates us how to get out of the cycle of birth and death. It is essential for every human being to hear Bhagavad Gita for his own benefit, his own interest. Natevidu swartagatim hi. In general, people, especially in the age of Kali, very much enthused Krishna's external energy, Maya. And they think that advancement, material advancement is actually material comfortment. Enhancing the material comforts is an advancement. That's what is the perception that people have. And they think that, if you enhance the material comforts, we're going to be happy. That is what is the perception. They don't know that material nature, external energy is very strong. We are very strongly bound with the loss of material nature. Living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. The natural, inherent quality of the living entity is to serve Krishna. But by the spell of illusion, A living entity thinks that, by serving the various other components, illusory potencies, he thinks that, he can be happy. The spell of illusion makes one to be happy, think they are going to be happy by serving his personal senses. Personal sensory gratification happens in different forms. And whichever way it happens, it will never make us happy. In fact, Bhagavad Gita explains, instead of satisfying his own personal material senses, one has to satisfy the senses of Lord. That is the highest stage of life, highest perfection of life. Krishna demands it. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. This is a demand of Krishna. This is a central point, central theme of Bhagavad Gita, essence of Bhagavad Gita is this. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja ahampa sarva papebhyo moksheshamasya. Very important point we need to understand is surrender only to Krishna. Mam ekam. Very, very important. We need to underline this word. And Krishna conscious movement is teaching the whole world this central point. And Srila Prabhupada is presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is without polluting the central theme of Bhagavad Gita and what Krishna wants, what Krishna is demanding from all living entities. If anybody is seriously interested in deriving the benefit out of reading Bhagavad Gita, they should take help of Krishna consciousness movement. Practical understanding of Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of Supreme Lord himself or his representative. And Srila Prabhupada is writing his preface to Bhagavad Gita. Why he is writing Bhagavad Gita as it is and what is expected of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Srila Prabhupada is so humbly expresses his opinion that if even one man becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, he says that he considers himself his attempt was successful. He has written this 12th May 1971, Australia, Sydney, when he was traveling to the place. And consequently, we need to go on to the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. It starts with Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapatakamanam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitamscha Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Janasayitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Dhagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gauravakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This way, Srila Prabhupada starts his introduction by offering prayers to Supreme Lord Krishna himself and Panchatattva and Guru Parampara in the disciplic succession, and he starts his introduction. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. This is actually Bhagavad Gita is the essence of Vedic knowledge, one of the most important Upanishads in the Vedic literature. As far as as we discussed Bhagavad Gita, there are many commentaries in English on Bhagavad Gita. So people were asking, one may question Prabhupada, explaining, why Prabhupada has taken up this process of translating Bhagavad Gita. He himself explains. He explains that, one time when he is traveling in America, an American lady asked Prabhupada that you are speaking about Bhagavad Gita and Krishna. Can you recommend me an English translation of Bhagavad Gita which I can read? At the time, we were talking this in 1970s. Prabhupada tried to recommend something to her. There are so many editions of Bhagavad Gita available in English. And when Prabhupada verified which is going to be more appropriate, see, these English versions of Bhagavad Gita is not only available in US but also India. But none of them are strictly said to be authoritative. Because every one of them, every commentator has expressed his own opinions without touching the spirit of Bhagavad Gita as it is mentioned by Krishna himself. Spirit of Bhagavad Gita is mentioned Bhagavad Gita itself. If you are taking any medicine, what do? How to take that medicine, the directions are printed on the medicine itself, right? If you take tablets, on that it mentions, what are the ingredients in it and how to use it. So we cannot take the medicine according to our own whim, right? Either you take the directions from the labels or you take the directions from the authority, a doctor. But we cannot take medicine according to our own will or, what our friends suggest or our neighbors suggest. You have to take them as directed by a physician, as it is mentioned on the label. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita should be taken and accepted as it is, directed by the speaker himself, that is Krishna. Speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna himself. In every page of Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. In fact, there is when we refer to the word Bhagavan, sometimes this word Bhagavan refers to, in fact, word Bhagavan also refers to a powerful person. Any powerful demigod can be called sometimes as Bhagavan, but here specifically designates Lord Sri Krishna as the greatest personality. He is not only just the greatest personality, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is confirmed in all Vedic scriptures and also all acharyas like Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbarkara Swamy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of the Vedic knowledge accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself establishes he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Bhagavad Gita. It's accepted even by Brahma. Brahma Samhita, it is mentioned, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarna Karnam. And all Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is known as Bhagavata Purana. Gita, Bhagavad Gita is known as Gita Upanishad. Gita is Upanishad, Bhagavatam is Purana. It mentions Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So we need to take Bhagavad Gita as it is. It's directed by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. 4th chapter, Krishna himself communicates how Bhagavad Gita has to be learned. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavam ham abhyam. Vivaswan manve paraha manur ikshvakave bhavet. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidu. Sakalena mahata yogo nashta. What is it? Yoga nashta parantapa. Sakalena mahata yogo nashta parantapa. Sa evayam mayate dvya yoga prokta puratana bhaktosi me sakacheti rahasyam he itaduttamam. Here, Lord Krishna informs Arjuna that the system of yoga, the Bhagavad Gita, was first spoken by Krishna to Sun God. And the Sun God explained it to Manu, and Manu explained it to Ikshvaku. And in this way, there was a disciplic succession. One speaker after another, another speaker after another, this yoga system has been coming down. But in the course of time, it has become lost. Consequently, Lord Krishna has to spoke it again, this time to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna tells Arjuna that he is relating the supreme secret to him because he is his devotee and friend. It's very important. To understand Bhagavad Gita, one need to be a devotee of Krishna. Purport of this Bhagavad Gita is meant specifically for devotee of Lord. We study in Bhagavad Gita and Vedic scriptures, there are three classes of transcendentalists: Jnanis, Yogis, and Bhaktas. Impersonalist, meditator, and devotee. Here, Krishna tells Arjuna that he is making him the first receiver of a new parampara, disciplic succession, because the old succession was broken. It was the Lord's wish, therefore, to establish another parampara in the same line of thought that was coming down from the sun god to others. It is his wish that his teaching be distributed anew by Arjuna. He wanted Arjuna to become the authority in understanding Bhagavad Gita. So we see that Bhagavad Gita is instructed to Arjuna specifically because Arjuna was a devotee of the Lord, a direct student of Krishna, and he is a very intimate friend. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita is best understood by a person who has a qualities similar to Arjuna. That is to say, he must be a devotee in a direct relationship with the Lord. As soon as one becomes a devotee of Lord, he also has a direct relationship with the Lord. In fact, it is a very elaborated subject matter. But Srila Prabhupada explains it briefly. A devotee is in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the 5 different ways, right? One may be a devotee in passive state, Shantarasa. One may be devotee in active state, Dasyarasa. One may be a devotee as a friend, Sakyarasa. One may be a devotee as a parent, Vatsalyarasa. One may be a devotee as a conjugal lover, Madhuryarasa. Arjuna was in relationship with the Lord as a friend, Sakyarasa. The difference, there is a gulf of difference between the friendship between Krishna and Arjuna and the friendship we found in the material world. The friendship that they established between the Arjuna and Krishna, that's a transcendental friendship which cannot be had in any similarities or relevance with the friendship in this material. This transcendental friendship which you can establish with Krishna, we cannot have similar friendship with everyone. Every one of us, all living entities, has a particular relationship with Lord. That relationship, which is dormant at this moment, is going to be evoked by rendering devotional service. But the present state of our life, We've forgotten Supreme Personality of Godhead. We've forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord. Every living being, out of many, many billions and trillions of living beings, all living beings, every one of the living beings, has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. It's not a temporary relationship. So it's an eternal. It is called Swarupa. By rendering devotional service, process of devotional service, one can revive the Swarupa, the real position of living entity, the real relationship between that particular living entity and Krishna himself. When that revival happens, that is called Swarupa Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. So Arjuna was a devotee and he was in touch with the Supreme Lord in friendship. How Arjuna accepted Bhagavad Gita should be noted. The manner of accepting Bhagavad Gita is explained in the 10th chapter. Listen, Arjuna Vacha, Parabrahma, Paramdhama, Pavitram, Param Bhavan, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam, Adidevam Ajam Vibhu, Ahustvam Rasaya Sarve, Devarshir Nardastata, Asito Devalo Vyasa, Soyam Chaiva Barvishimi, Sarvam Etadritam Manye, Yanmam Vadasi Keshava, Nahite Bhagavan Vyaptim Vidurdevana Dhanava. Arjuna says in these 3 shlokas, 10th chapter, 12, 13, and 14 shlokas. Arjuna says to Krishna, Krishna, you are Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, supreme abode, unpurified, absolute truth, and eternal divine person. You are the primal Lord, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. All the great sages like Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyasa proclaim this, that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And now you yourself are declaring it to me, O Krishna. I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the next statement is very, very significant. Arjuna says, neither the gods or demons, devatas or rakshasas, none of them really know you as you are. After hearing Bhagavad Gita from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Arjuna accepted Krishna as Param Brahma, the Supreme Brahman. See, every living being is Brahman. Brahman means spiritual. But Supreme living being is Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Brahman. Parandhama. Parandhama means that he is a supreme rest or abode of everything. Pavitram is pure, untainted by material contamination. Purusham. Purusha means enjoyer. He is a supreme enjoyer. Divyam is transcendental. Adidevam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajam is unborn. And Vibhum, the greatest of all pervading. Now, one may think that because Krishna was the friend of Arjuna, Arjuna was telling him all this by way of flattery. But Arjuna, just to drive out this kind of doubt from the minds of the readers of Bhagavad Gita, substantiate that these praises are not his own. In the next verse, when he says that Krishna is accepted as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, not only by himself, but authorities like Sage Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasadeva, and so on. These are great personalities who distribute the Vedic knowledge as it is accepted by all acharyas. So, whatever Arjuna is talking is not his own opinion. He's quoting the great sages. Therefore, Arjuna tells Krishna that he accepts whatever he says. Whatever Krishna says to be completely perfect. Sarvam etad vritam manye. Accept everything you say to be true. Arjuna also says that the personality of Lord is very difficult to understand and that he cannot be known even by the great demigods. This means that Lord cannot even be known by personalities greater than human beings. This is a fact. So now the question arises, how can a human being understand Sri Krishna without being his devotee? That's why, therefore, Bhagavad Gita should be taken up in a spirit of devotion. One should not think that he is equal to Krishna, nor should he think that Krishna is an ordinary personality or even a very great personality. Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, at least theoretically. According to the statement of Bhagavad Gita or the statement of Arjuna, the person who is trying to understand Bhagavad Gita has to accept this fact. We should therefore at least accept theoretically Sri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and with that submissive spirit, we can understand the Bhagavad Gita. Unless one reads Bhagavad Gita in a submissive spirit, it's very difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita because it is a great mystery. Guhyam. What is Bhagavad Gita? The purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to deliver mankind from the nescience of material existence. Every man, every living being, every human being in this world is in difficulty in so many ways. As Arjuna was also in difficulty in having to fight with the battle of Kurukshetra. Arjuna completely surrendered unto Sri Krishna, and consequently this Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Not only Arjuna, but every one of us full of anxieties because of this material existence. Our very existence is in the atmosphere of non-existence. Actually, we're not meant to be threatened by non-existence, right? Our existence is eternal. Somehow or other, we are put into this asat. Asat refers to which does not exist. Out of many human beings who are suffering in this material world, there are few who are actually inquiring about their position as to what they are, why they are put into this awkward position, and all this. Unless one is awakened to this position of questioning his suffering, unless he realizes that he doesn't want to have this suffering, but rather wants to make a solution to all these sufferings, unless one thinks in this direction, one is not to be considered a perfect human being. Humanity begins when this sort of inquiry is awakened in one's mind. The Brahma Sutra, this inquiry is called Brahma Jignasa, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Every activity of human being is to be considered a failure unless he inquires about the nature of the absolute truth. Therefore, those who begin to question why they are suffering or where they came from and where they shall go after death are proper student for understanding Bhagavad. The sincere student should also have a firm respect for Supreme Personality of God. Such a student was Arjuna. Lord Krishna descends specifically to re-establish the real purpose of life when man forgets that purpose. Even then, out of many, many human beings who awaken, there may be one who actually enters the spirit of understanding his position. For him, this Bhagavad Gita is spoken. Actually, we are all followed by the tiger of nescience. Krishna is very merciful upon living entities, especially human beings. Then he spoke Bhagavad Gita, making his friend Arjuna as his student. Being an associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna was above all kinds of ignorance. But Arjuna was put into ignorance on the battlefield of Kurukshetra just to question Lord Krishna about the problems of life, so that the Lord could explain them for the benefit of future generations of human beings. And human beings can chalk out their plan of life. By acting according to the principles of Bhagavad Gita, a person can perfect his human form of life. Bhagavad Gita specifically speaks 5 basic truths. First of all, science of God is explained. And then constitutional position of living entities, jivas. Ishvara and jiva. There is a Ishvara, which means the controller. And there are jivas, the living entities, which are controlled. If the living entity says that he is not controlled, but he is free, then he is insane. Why? Because living being is controlled in every respect, at least in his conditioned life. So in Bhagavad Gita, the subject matter deals with the Ishvara, the supreme controller, and the Jiva, the controlled living entities, and Prakriti, the material nature, and time, the duration of existence of the whole universe, or the manifestation of this material nature. And fifth one is the karma, activity. These 5 important points are discussed in Bhagavad. What are those points? Ishvara, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jiva, all the living entities. Material nature, time, and karma. This cosmic manifestation, which is called the material nature, is full of different activities. The living entities are engaged in different activities. From Bhagavad Gita, we must learn what God is, what the living entities are, what Prakriti is, what the cosmic manifestation is, and how it is controlled by the time, what the activities of the living entities are. These are explained in Bhagavad Gita. Out of these 5 basic subject matters in Bhagavad Gita, it's established that Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Krishna, or Brahman, or Supreme Controller, or Brahman, Paramatma, whatever name you wanted to use, you use it. But this, knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the greatest of all. The living entities, being the part and parcel of Krishna, they are in quality like the Supreme Controller. For instance, see, the Lord has a control over the universal effects, over the material nature, and etc. As will be explained in the further chapters, it's going to be very elaborately explained. See, the material nature itself is not independent. It is the energy of Krishna. She is acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Prakriti, Prakriti, Prakriti Kriyamanani. Mayadjakshena Prakriti. Prakriti is working under my direction. When you see wonderful things happening in the cosmic nature, we should know that beyond this cosmic manifestation, there is a controller. Nothing could be manifested without being controlled. It's very foolish and childish not to consider the controller, right? For instance, Srila Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. Small child may see an automobile is just, going on the road. It's very wonderful, right? And he sees that, generally, if any vehicle has to be pulled, he has seen carts earlier, and it's pulled by horses. And now there is no horse, but it is going by itself. It's not being pulled by the ox or any other animal. So he's wondering how it is going. But a sane man who has a knowledge how the automobile works, how the automobile engineering arrangement is, he always knows that beyond this machinery there is a man, a driver, sitting in the automobile and making it happen. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is a driver under whose direction everything is working. Now the living entities, jivas, have been accepted by the Lord, as we'll note in the latter chapters that all the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. See, a particle of gold is also gold. A drop of water from the ocean is also salty, right? They have the same qualities. Similarly, we, living entities, being part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, Ishvara, have all the qualities of the Supreme Lord Krishna. But those qualities in a very minute quantity, because we are minute Ishvaras, subordinate Ishvaras. We are trying to control the nature. Presently, we are trying to control space or planets and whatnot. This tendency to control something is there because it is there in Krishna. See, although we have tendency to lord it over the material nature, we should know that we are not supreme controllers. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita. What is material nature? What is supreme controller Ishvara? What is Prakriti, the inferior energy of Krishna? What is living entity? All this is explained. Living entity is a superior Prakriti. Prakriti, by nature, Prakriti is always under control. Whether it's inferior Prakriti or superior Prakriti. Inferior Prakriti is material nature. Superior Prakriti is living entity. Prakriti is feminine, female. And she is controlled by the Lord, just as the activities of Srila Prabhupada gives example of activities of wife are controlled by the husband. Prakriti is always subordinate, predominated by the Lord. Who is the predominator? Krishna. The living entities are material nature. Both of them are predominated, controlled by Supreme Lord Krishna. It's mentioned in Gita. According to Gita, the living entities, all the parts and parcel of Supreme Lord, are to be considered Prakriti. It's mentioned in the 7th chapter, 5th verse of Bhagavad Gita. Aparayam itasva anyam. This Prakriti is my lower nature, Krishna says. Prakriti vidhi me param jiva. Prakriti me vidhi. What is that shloka? Prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutan mahabhago. Yedam dharyate jagat. Beyond this Prakriti, there is another Prakriti, Jiva Bhutan, living entity. Prakriti itself is considered by 3 qualities, right? Modes of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Above these modes, there is an eternal time. And by combination of these modes of nature, under the control of the purview of eternal time, there are activities which are called karma. Very important. How karma is generated is 3 modes of material nature combined with the time. And these activities being carried out from the time immemorial, and we are suffering or enjoying the fruits of our activities. For instance, if I'm a businessman, let's say I'm a businessman, and I have worked very hard with intelligence and have amassed a great bank balance, let's say, then I am an enjoyer. Then I say, in my process of business, I lost all my money in business, then I am a sufferer. Similarly, in every field of life, we enjoy the results of our work or we suffer the results of work. This is called karma. We try to stop it here. Anybody has any questions or comments or any corrections? Prabhuji and Matajis? Is it understandable to you, Prahlad Prabhu? Prahlad Prabhu? Is it understandable to you? What is Bhagavad Gita speaks about? Can you tell me 5 different subject matters Bhagavad Gita explains? Hmm?
Is not good. So my health is not good today.
I'm not able to understand you, Prabhu. What did you say? 5 different subject matters Bhagavad Gita deals with what? Anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mata?
Material nature,
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
activity,
Mm-hmm.
Ishvara, and the Jivas.
Very nice. The Supreme Personality awarded. Ishvara, the Jivas, the living entity, material nature, time, and activities is karma. Correct?
Karma. Yes,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
These are the 5 subject matters discussed in Bhagavad Gita. We should remember that entire Bhagavad Gita discusses about these 5 different matters. And the essence of all these 5 different matters is concluded by Krishna in the 18th chapter, 66 verse. I'll get to know more about it. So, any other questions? Thank you, Charita Mataji. Prahlad Prabhu, now you understand 5 different subject matters that is discussed in Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Can you tell me now what are the 5 different subject matters?
Prabhuji, time, material
Material nature,
and karma. Prabhuji, can you?
Living entity and Supreme Lord.
Living entity and Supreme God.
Yes. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. These are the 5 different subject matters that are explained in Bhagavad Gita. Very nice. So, Prahlad Prabhu, shall we stop it here?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. You wanted to pronounce Premadhvani?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Nama Sankirtan ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Hardas Thakur ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Samvaita Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Anandakoti Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Sri 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 Radha Krishna ki.
Jai.
Jai.
Revatinandan Prabhuji ki.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Grantaraj Srimad
Hare Krishna
Bhagavatam
Prabhuji.
ki Jai. Prahlad Prabhu ki Jai. Swamy Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you very much, Matajis and Prabhujis. You have given me an opportunity to speak from Srila Prabhupada's books. Thank you very much for this. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I?
Yes?
Prabhuji, నాకు అంతగా ఈరోజు క్లాస్ ఇది అవ్వలేదు కి నాకు 5 మెటీరియల్స్ లిటిల్ బిట్ అర్థమయ్యాయి ఈరోజు నాకు ఫీవర్ కఫ్ అంటే 2 ఎస్టర్డే నుండే ప్రభుజీ
మీరు చెప్పాల్సింది కదా నాకు ఇవాళ క్లాస్ మరి పెట్టుకునేవాళ్ళం కాదు.
ప్రభుజీ నిన్న కొంచెం పర్వాలేదు రోజు మరీ కొంచెం బాగా దీనిగా అనిపిస్తుంది.
ఓకే. ప్రాపర్గా రెస్ట్ తీసుకోండి ప్రభుజీ. ప్రసాదం తీసుకున్నారా?
తీసుకున్నాను ప్రభుజీ. 3 రోటీస్ తీసుకున్నాను.
అవును. ప్రాపర్గా రెస్ట్ తీసుకోండి. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
మరి నాకు రేపు చెప్పండి. రేపు మీ ఆరోగ్యం ఎలా ఉంటుందో దాన్ని బట్టి మనం కంటిన్యూ చేద్దామా లేకపోతే బ్రేక్ ఇద్దామా నిర్ణయిద్దాం. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
హరే కృష్ణ.
సారీ ప్రభుజీ, ఈరోజు మీకు చెప్పడం మర్చిపోయాను.
నో ప్రాబ్లం ప్రభుజీ. జాగ్రత్తగా వినాలి అంతే. హరి బో. దండవత్ ప్రణామం.
ప్రభుజీ, మిమ్మల్ని నేను జూమ్ లో వీడియోలో చూడాలనుకుంటున్నాను. కెన్ యూ?
షూర్. రేపు కనెక్ట్ చేద్దాం ప్రభుజీ. ఓకేనా?
ఓకే ప్రభుజీ.
దండవత్ ప్రణామం.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
హరి బోల్.